Hey, what's good, people? This is episode 67. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. That man's Rob McLean. The episode starts right now. Yo, what the F, yo? It's been a minute.
Has been.
Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to our show, and the daddies are home. All right, this is episode 67 of Sports Debate Tuesday, man, where Rob and I, as volleyball players, want to talk about everything except volleyball unless we absolutely have to. Because it seems like when we talk about volleyball, man, we got a bunch of soft cats, just hypersensitive to everything, man. So, all right, just the same, here we go. We got a lot to talk about. You know, the NBA playoffs happened. I mean, your Knicks got eliminated, but they, a good showing, and the Hawks are showing that they're for real, right? So it's not like, you feel a little better because they ain't losing no scrubs. They're sitting there battling the
hmm
Sixers. Hey, big UFC pay-per-view. I thought Vittori deserved a shot, but we all kind of knew how that was going to finish. That was, it was a formality against a guy who worked up, right? And that's why the UFC makes people skip the line, because people who earn their shots sometimes get murked. A whole bunch of stuff on quick question. We're gonna throw a little tennis in the mix too, because we don't talk about that enough. And shame or no shame is a stale subject matter, but because we haven't been on the set in a minute, we got to readdress this thing um, that we have to do. But first things first, Rob. Let's talk about the NBA. The Hawks find themselves down at the half. I think trail by 15. Trail by as much as 20. Came back. Won. Even the series at two apiece. I'll cut to the chase, Rob, because I talked enough. Are the Sixers in trouble?
Well, not necessarily because of what the Hawks are doing, but they're in trouble because of what everybody else is in trouble for, which is the health reasons. Joel Embiid, if he's not 100% healthy, or at least 90% healthy, he's got to be their number one lead scorer. I don't see Tobias Harris picking up that slack. I don't see Ben Simmons picking up that slack. I don't see Seth Curry picking up that slack. Um, I love how that team played by committee. When they really started to play by committee and trusting in it, I think Philadelphia's unstoppable. But I think they're just it's too early. But they got some really, really, really awesome looking pieces, really long, 2, 3, 4 hybrid mixed players that can shoot the ball, kind of, play great defense. That's what they need more of. Just shut teams down, and systematically you'll be a better skilled team. But at the end of the day, I think it's just a little bit too young for the Hawks. I think whatever the Hawks do here is kind of what Denver did last year. Whatever the Hawks do here is like a huge learning curve. The farther they can get, that whatever they do next year is going to be even better. So the Hawks, I would love for them to win. I think it's going to be a tough 7-game series. I do see Philadelphia coming out of it, but again, that's all contingent on if Joel Embiid is healthy. So. Yeah, it's gonna be a great series, definitely.
So you think they are, or they're not in trouble?
I I think they're more in trouble than what they were when they started the series, definitely. Just because I don't think this series should go to 7, and I think it will now. So I definitely think they're in trouble, and they have a possibility of losing the series.
Yeah. Okay, Rob, keep it. McLean. You mentioned something about the Denver Nuggets last year and like the attitude that they had behind playing behind their rising superstar, where they were playing with house money that made it all the way, I believe, to the conference finals, if memory serves me correct. Is that what happened? And
hmm
for all of those same reasons that you mentioned, are the reasons why I say I agree with you. I think the Sixers are in trouble. I think this team, if it's anything consistent with the Nuggets, they do have a shot at getting to the conference finals, and they do have a shot at beating the 76ers. And there's a couple of reasons why. Embiid has an injury that's not going to go away after this game, and it's not going to go away game 5 or 6, and then this pivotal game 7 where sometimes the best team doesn't always win. The team who's hottest wins, right? Because we've seen that with the Rockets and Knicks. We've seen that with 73 win team Golden State Warriors, and how LeBron James pulled the fast one on everybody. And for all of those reasons, I think they're in trouble. I think Trae Young is playing really good ball, man. I mean, the only thing more impressive than his 25 points with the 18 assists, the guy shares the ball, distributes the wealth, and finding themselves down by 15 points or as much as 18 or 20 points and finding a way to come back shows that they had this mentality: is if the worst thing that can happen is we lose, okay. That's you as an elite athlete. You're still a practicing volleyball player. You're still you've been coaching more than playing these days, and for that the juniors will all thank you because they don't have enough coaches like you out there. But you know more than anybody else that it's a liberating feeling. You don't have to carry a backpack of high expectations where people, if you lose, it might hurt your brand or might hurt like future partnerships and this and that. But if someone knows you're a good player and respects you but believes that the other team is superior, you're in the catbird seat, dude. You're in the catbird seat, Rob McLean. I mean, look. I mean, I'm looking at the stats here from the Sixers. I mean, what is it? Seth Curry, Steph's brother, put up 17. He's always going to do his thing on the outside, and when you call his number, he'll respond. Dwight Howard, is always going to have multiple double-digit rebound games. Tobias Harris, 20 points. 8-15 shooting. Embiid was 0 for 12 in the second half. I mean, and it's one of those things where also as elite athletes, like you have to make a decision. If you can't go, sit. Don't be out there, and it's one of my least favorite things. Don't be out there and be like, miss all these shots, and then after the game's over, or if I was better, we would have won. And nobody want to hear that. No time for losers. We are the champions, right? We are the champions, my friend. We'll keep, that kind of mentality. So I co-sign with you, and I gotta agree. And we're definitely gonna have a lot of basketball to talk about, but I think we could wrap this one up quick. We both agree they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Are they still favored to win? Yeah. I mean, can they still pull this out in 6 or 7 games? Yeah, though you and me lean more towards the 7th. Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I just got to say, Embiid pulled 21 rebounds, as well. So it wasn't like he was, limping out there. It's just he really didn't have that touch in that field, maybe that little extra lift. But at the end of the day, you gotta, he still played basketball. And I think if you look at the stats on some of the other guys, they've got to make shots. But I think you just got to trust in those guys, trust in that rotation and empower them to be better. So,
but on offense, at least decoy, right? Maybe he's gonna get his rebounds, particularly on the offensive end too. He's very good at crashing the boards on offense and defense. He's not one of those guys that runs away. But I'm like, dude, like if you're 4 for 20 from the field, man, decoy some of those. Whether you're injured or not, or whether they know you're injured or not, they're going to double team you, right? Do you agree? The double team's going to be there whether you're injured or not. So you gotta, sorry, you had.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and and I'm very interested to see what Doc Rivers, we are a very respected coach in this, and on a global scale, never mind the domestic, league or the National Basketball Association. Very interested to see the adjustments he's going to make, because it's not like he doesn't have weapons. He has weapons, and man, this is exciting, huh? This is exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be some good series.
Trae Young, I never saw. I mean, when I saw him play his first year, I didn't see this. I didn't see his sophomore or whatever season. This is second or third season. I never saw this kind of leadership.
They built this team around him, and they got pretty lucky with John Collins. I think the same year. They did a great job drafting. If you look at their entire team, their whole team is drafted. Kevin Huerter, he's drafted. You got a great trade over from the Rockets for their center, and then they just did a really good job drafting. I got to give it up to the Hawks.
No doubt, man. And Trae Young,
DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, did you see that coming though? This kid from Oklahoma, just out there, just balling like that.
I mean, he had it. I mean, that's the thing, is the league is changing. That what do you need for a superstar? What you really need is shooting. Klay Thompson. Did you really see that out of did you really see him being a two-way player out of it? Doesn't matter. He's a shooter. He can be a lockdown shooter. Peja Stojakovic, for many years, he was just a lockdown shooter. No matter what he did, touch the ball, he got a three. So, people can live with shooting out here in the NBA.
No doubt. That's true, man. Very well said. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's basketball for now. We're definitely going to come back at that with one of our other subjects. Quick question, but let's move on to mixed martial arts. It's been a minute, and there were so many house shows that had pretty good main events and this and that. But I bring your attention, Rob McLean, to UFC 263.
263.
Yeah, Israel. The main event. It was like a tri-main event. I mean, you had Israel Adesanya against Vittori, right? You had Brandon Moreno winning the title against Davison Figueiredo, which I thought he could win, but I didn't think, I mean, man, I didn't think he would gangster it like that. Just like Figueiredo never got started. And then Nate Diaz, who's such an entertaining, enigmatic character, that they made this match with Leon Edwards 5 rounds. It wasn't even like the main event. And it's like Nate Diaz, you just want to see him get started. You want to see his gas tank. And aren't we glad that we got to see 5 rounds based on what happened in the 5th round? So, right. Rob, I'm going to start with you, and I'll go second on each one. I got 3 questions. What's next for Nate Diaz? What's next for Brandon Moreno? And what's next for Nate Diaz? Leon Edwards, I think, deserves a title, the winner. So I think that's an easy one. So let's start with Nate Diaz. The floor is yours. What do you think Nate Diaz wants to do next, or should do next?
Some people are saying Masvidal, again.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I think at this point, because I just don't like the way he, fights. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what sells tickets. Yeah, he has his backing, but he's not going to garner any new fans. It's kind of just the people he's always had behind him. So when it comes to that, I think you just kind of try to find, you kind of just give him like the newest, youngest talent to try to prop them up on his pay-per-view, So if anything, I'd probably say maybe Masvidal again, see if who maybe of those 2 guys will be that gatekeeper of the top 5, top 6 area. When we're talking about Moreno, I mean, I know Figueroa would like to have that trilogy, like you said, he never got started. I think Figueroa, wants that rematch, wants to be able to fight them again. I don't know if it's necessarily fair because it was such a close fight the first time, and that was actually like it was such a decisive finish, and it was such a quick fight right after that. I don't think it would do its service to the fans if we ran that back a third time.
So let's stop there.
I don't know.
Let's stop there. Let's do one at a time. Let's do Nate Diaz first.
Okay.
Nate Diaz, I want to see him go against someone who's a stand-up fighter. These stylistic mismatches against wrestlers that can take him down, but at the same time avoid submission, and at the same time use their takedown ability to strike. Nate Diaz has had a hard time against them, but at the same time, Nate Diaz right now he realizes his brand. He's lost like 3 of his last 4 or something like that. No, he's 2-2. Pettis and lost 3 of his last 4. The last one was Pettis, and then he lost to McGregor, Masvidal, and then this guy. But there are so many strikers out there, but don't have a big name, that Diaz is probably telling himself, I'm not gonna get myself busted up, for like 40-40. You know what I'm saying? I need another big, But I think he has to realize his power is big enough to carry him against, if he wants to go against Ponzinibbio, right? Like Santiago Ponzinibbio, a name that a lot of people don't know. We would love to see him fight Ferguson, right? It'd be a good rebound fight for both of them. Maybe even a loser leaves town match for both of them. Because Diaz fights in both divisions. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even Nate Diaz, if he takes his talents to another venue, where he doesn't have to fight the UFC, he can kind of keep doing his thing and push his CBD and marijuana train. I think it might even be best for him to just kind of skip town and go to another venue where he's getting paid the right type of money that he should be getting paid,
Yeah.
and he's going to bring those fans right along with him.
Hell
I
yeah.
think it's. But I have to say this, on that fact that I think it's been amazing how the UFC has not only, changed over their roster to a younger roster, but still they've been running some great talent.
Yeah.
The MMA world is definitely bringing out some amazing fighters right now.
And they found a way to do it without holding titles hostage. I mean, the UFC, I was disgusted with them like for 3-4 years ago. Everything had to be for the belt. Oh, big fights. These things do not have to be for the belt to be big fights, right? They made a BMF title with Masvidal versus Diaz. That's sold out, but whatever. The top 2 pay-per-views ever in the UFC were not for the title. It was McGregor and Diaz, right? Of course, Brock Lesnar, came up third, I think, against Frank Mir or something like that. I thought that was a big one, but they don't have to be for the belt. So you don't have to some guy come out of nowhere and get a title shot. You know what I mean? And I like that because, like you said, it's good for the sport because now the guys who are in the top 15 know that there's some meritocracy. It's not a complete meritocracy, right? Because the fight game is not a meritocracy. It's about your momentum, and you still have to win. So we get that too. So it's like half and half. Now Moreno, right? Because it's such a tight, top-heavy division with the two of them, the two-horse race. We're probably looking at a trilogy. And you're right. It's not. I mean, it's going to take years off of both of their life if the next match goes how I think it's going to go. Right, but were you not surprised? We thought it was going to be another 5-round war. Were you not surprised? Were you surprised at the way Moreno came out, dominated the first round, and submitted him the second round? Figueiredo is a tough guy to knock out or submit. And this guy won in all facets. He won with the wrestling. He won with the striking, dropped him the first round. And then eventually made him say, uncle. Did you see this coming this way?
No, I don't think anybody really saw it coming like that. But I think Moreno, did exactly what he was supposed to do. I think he did everything right. He stuck to what made him his best. And I think, Davidson, and not saying anything against him, but I think he's still just trying to find out what kind of fighter he is. He's got so many tools. He's got so many things he can do, but like you have to create that into an offense. One thing works with another thing that opens up, that creates your power. And that's what Moreno was doing. Like he was saying, he's a much more technical fighter. He follows behind something that he believes in, which is that jab. He follows in behind some good takedowns. And I just, when it comes to Davidson, man, I think that they are going to run it back because, like you said, it is just, a 2-horse race up there. But, man, yeah, Moreno just totally stifled Figueroa. So, no, there's no way I saw that coming, but it was more on just how Figueroa just did not, he really didn't. I didn't see him throw anything that was really damaging, I was, other than those elbows on his back in the second round.
Ooh.
Other than that.
Good Lord, yeah. Yeah, and it's man, I hope they make a whole bunch of money in this trilogy because they're gonna need it to retire early.
Right.
Now here's the $1 million question. Adesanya's kind of like Alexander the Great, right? There's in this division, there might not be any worlds left to conquer. There's no one bringing up the rear. Not a whole lot of people worthy of the rematch. Maybe he said he wants Bobby Knuckles. That's Rob Whittaker, and that's something I think he's doing just to finish off the year because he might have a decision to make. He might be too light to fight in light heavyweight, and maybe. I don't know. Maybe someone comes down. Maybe Rocco comes back to 185, which would be awesome because I'd love to see. Because as much as I despise the way Rocco's been behaving, I think we all want to see Israel whoop his behind. But stylistically, Rocco could wrestle. So there's a whole bunch of things that I think that would be whatever. So Rob, for me, what's next for Israel Adesanya? And I'm going to give you the floor in a minute. I do want to see this rematch with Rob Whittaker, even though we think it'll probably end the same. I'm interested to see if his coaching, if their plan, their strategy is something different. Maybe they close the distance, maybe they find a way or whatever. Because Bobby Knuckles he doesn't even look like he gets tired in these 5 round fights unless he gets rocked. So I think it's Bobby Knuckles, and from there I would love to see Weidman come down, past his injury, come down or whatever. The problem is he's the champ, and none of these guys are worthy of a title match, considering all their losses. But stylistically, as far as what I'd like to see either Weidman or Rockhold face him. But I don't know. As far as deserving title shot, like if the Joker Hermanson, if he gets a win, if he gets another win, I think he's right up there because he's only lost once, I think, to Vittori. So, what's up next, man? I saved the most difficult for last, man. What the hell do we do with Israel Adesanya, Rob?
It's true. It's true. I mean, I really like Luke Rockhold. I think that's what they're trying to push eventually, whether it's the next fight or maybe a couple fights after that, because Luke, man, cannot last in heavyweight. I don't care what the heck what you're thinking. He will not last. He will not last at all. So, or in light heavyweight. So, yeah, I would love for him to come back down and fight, but especially with Khabib training him and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. Izzy kind of cleaned out the division in a sense, and I'm kind of wondering, where's Johnny Walker eventually? I don't think he's going to get a title fight, but maybe he could move down a little bit.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, but that's the kind of guys that can lose some weight, and still truck at 185. But
I mean, there's a reason why Cyborg didn't go down to 135. Ronda played this whole game. If she wants to fight me, she has to come down to 135. And I'm like, you know what's going to happen. This girl's going to suck herself dry and you're going to KO. You're going to stiffen her up.
I know. I want this guy to get in, though. I want this guy to get in. Yes. Johnny Walker, man.
Yeah.
Get this guy in.
He's so dynamic and losing to Corey Anderson, that was a tough loss because of the way he lost. He got KO'd, showing off, and also he dislocated his shoulder doing the worm. So I consider those 2 losses, one to the worm, and one to right. But if he can do it safely, I think a lot of fighters should try to do it in training. Like GSP did a lot of his weight cut in training, and then the weight cut week was what a lot of those guys call it, was just so much easier. I think some of these guys don't need it. It's crazy how these people are still missing weight. And we had a debate about weight, new weight classes and all that stuff. But honestly, I think a lot of those guys would miss weight anyway. It's just they're not doing it the same way boxers are. Boxers cut their weight in training and then sauna up. So
right.
Yep. All right. So
probably
cool, man.
A lot smarter.
Yeah. So we got I think we got Ige fighting this weekend. And I forgot who he's fighting, but I'll come up with that later on Quick Question, I think. So let's move on. This is weird because us as volleyball people, it's the one thing we want to talk about the least because they're so damn sensitive. But Rob, it's our wheel house. All right. So question 3, I'd like to go first, because this will give you a sense on how you want to approach this. No layout for this question. The question's straightforward. Have our feelings changed about the American teams going in from where our feelings were before? Rob, I'll go first. And my answer is absolutely yes. I remember saying that I got a sense based on years and years of experience, not as some hack on Volley Talk, right? Years and years of experience as a coach, years and years of experience as a player, years and years of experience as a commentator, that I watched a lot of Clay's and Sponsel's matches, and they were playing as if they didn't believe that if they got to the Olympics, they would win gold. A lot of people thought it was an unfair thing to say, then I got some of the speeches about the gladiators in the arena who know victory and defeat and this and that. And I'm like, that didn't apply to me, of course, because I've been doing this longer than people have lived at a respectable heightened level, right? Adult national championships, Germany professional region 1, and I'm gonna stop there because when I start playing the validation game, they got me, and I despise what I become. But what I would like to do, I do want to take this time to apologize to them if what I said they felt like it was attacking their character. because someone's will to win is out of the bounds of talking about someone's skill set. So Kelly Clays and Sarah Sponsor, if you actually listen to one of these shows for like 10 minutes, this is the 10 minutes I want to take this time and say that if what I said inflicted any disrespect towards your mentality and wanting to win, that's not what I was getting at. We're like the first take of volleyball, right? We see something, and our first take, if it's not honest and if it's not organic, doesn't come from an honest place, a self-honest place, then the show itself loses its value. So for this and only for this will I say, you know what, I meant what I said, but at the same time, what I said was not designed to disrespect someone. It's just, as a coach, like Chuck Daly can say it and get away with it, right? This guy can say it and get away with it. And I think I can say it and get away with it, but at the same time, got to call it what it is. They might have taken it as disrespect. I wasn't trying to do that. So with that being said, that's why I wanted to go first. I wanted to get that out of the way. When the facts change, my opinions do. They went to Russia. They murdered it. All right. They went to Czech Republic. They murdered it. And like I said in my last podcast, they had that face where, like, if you saw Game of Thrones, remember that Queen Daenerys when she says Dracarys, and like her face goes Dracarys, and that look, that stone cold dragon lady, queen bitch killer look comes out. Kelly had that. Sponsor had that. And like I told Brian McDermott on my last podcast, when I saw that, I said, "Oh shit, whoa!" And they didn't just win these games, Rob. They murdered it. They murdered it. And now that I see some of that killer instinct, that I see some of these things that are consistent with people that have a winner's mentality, when I see those things where someone comes into a tournament with the expectation not to do the best they can, not to do what they coach, but to win, and to win big, and to crush it, to have this attitude that's only consistent with athletes like Betsy Flint. I'll put in that category, and Misty May. If you serve me, I'm going to fuck you up. That's why I thought, honestly, that's why I thought Betsy should have played with Kerry, because I didn't see that with Sarah Hughes. I didn't see that with Brooke Sweat. And with respect to Sponsor, I didn't see that either until the last couple of weeks. They just figured it out. Something popped. Maybe they just thought, hey, at this point, if the worst we can do is not go to the Olympics, we're already not going. So let's punch someone in the mouth as hard as we can, and maybe we'll go. And that's what happened. So that's how I feel about the women. And I've been talking a lot, but before we go to the men, what are your thoughts on the two women's teams going in?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of didn't know about if it was going to be Carrie and Brooke or Kelly and Sarah, and I even chose Kelly and Brooke, and I'm glad that Carrie and Sarah made it in. They are clearly the team that's the better team at the moment.
Yep.
It was, for me, was this long break going to affect the momentum they created earlier or not? Like that was my only catch up. And then the other thing is more of I think it's for both teams. They don't make some easy plays look so easy. They make some of the hard plays look easy, but the easy plays, they don't score, let's say, on the highest clip we would want them. So I think that's really just the issue. When maybe Alex and April kind of make it look a lot easier than most teams sometimes. So I think we just try to hold our teams at a really high standard. And if there's a choice between, 2A and 2B, and we're splitting hairs, I don't think that's a terrible thing. I just think we're talking about what our preferences are over if they're good or not. I think if they're at an Olympic level and somebody's saying that they're not good, then that's not really a valid comment. So,
but how much does momentum mean? Like, if with momentum being everything, like Ross and Kleinman, they're coming into the Olympics with bad momentum. But honestly, I think when push comes to shove, and when the games actually start, I think there'll be a level of heightened enthusiasm where I think they're going to find their way to the podium. But now I'm not just thinking one team to the podium. I'm thinking two. I'm thinking these girls are roaring into the Olympics right now. I'm a USA guy. I want to see us do good. I just can't lie to myself. But sorry, go ahead.
So, I mean, the Olympics are a fully loaded 5-star. You know what I mean? Like that's so I don't think I'm not going to say that our twos team are Kelly and Sarah are going to medal necessarily. I think they can definitely compete. I think they should definitely be in the round of 32, round of 16, even maybe. But
But they could.
yeah, yeah, they can compete, and if they're there in at the round of 16, they're that anybody can. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I definitely see April and Alex have a lot more of the, we may have the easier pool. Let's handle business. Let's get to the quarters and the semis early and take our break and stat um, and figure out how we're going to win this tournament. Where Kelly and Sarah are more on the every team we face, we got to crush them.
No, no doubt, no doubt.
So
Yeah,
different areas, But
yeah,
talking on do I have a different feeling on them? Absolutely. I think this is the right teams that should go, and I think they, regardless if they work with each other or not, they should challenge each other by having a better result than one another. So yeah, I think it's a great choice. These are the right teams to go.
right. For the men, um, this is a show where if we start lying to people, then the show's not worth having. Like, there are so many people out there that would have rather seen Trevor and Tri go instead of Phil and Nick, as much as people like Phil and Nick. But at the end of the day, Phil and Nick were playing their best volleyball at the right time. And that little Doha thing where they didn't make country quota was just enough for Phil to go ahead and play keep away ball and get that second spot. Taylor and whatever, we already knew they were going. We don't a lot of people don't have high hopes of them medaling, but just like Clay's and Sponsor, they can. Like Taylor, Jake gets on, he's a streaky blocker, and even when their games where one of them is balling out of their mind and the other one's playing okay, those games have been good enough to win. But at the end, you're right. You got Qatar, you got Norway, you got those guys who have not played their best ball in the spring. And the Olympics is going to be about. I really think it's going to be about everybody playing their best. And I got a comment. We're live. I got a comment section. Someone said Norway not doing good the last few tournaments, but Andor's Mall has a knee issue where they actually just thought about pulling out. In fact, the third tournament in Cancun,
Wow.
they were just like, wait a second, we already got our spot. Don't be doing nothing stupid. No one's gonna like, right.
Yeah,
If they could have not played all of Cancun and still went to the Olympics.
totally.
So coming to the beach without a tan. I love those Vikings, but yeah. So didn't like Phil and Nick before, but I like them now because they're mature enough to understand the situation and energy efficiency, and when the Olympics come, I think both of them will be galvanized. Like Phil is just, it almost seems like he's going through the motions. He looks like Jay Cutler signing his freaking contract, for Christ's sakes. But I know in my heart of hearts, when the games come, he's gonna have something that this line on his face that looks like a smile. And of course Nick is definitely gonna be up. And Taylor his first Olympics, man. I've been down with Taylor Crab from day one, even though I have doubted him sometimes, and he's called me out on those things. So your thoughts on the two men's teams?
Yeah, I'm worried, about not medaling this year.
Yeah.
I think the Europe, just the European scene is just incredibly tough.
Yeah.
And I
And
don't
being
know,
honest, I don't think they're gonna medal either. I'll eat that crow if they do. But sorry.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
I just say, I love for them to prove me wrong, and then we'll figure out what they did differently than where they are now, because like the comment said, the way they finished in the last couple of tournaments does not make me confident that they're gonna, you know, not even just win games, but decisively win games where they're not gassing themselves in three games in a row, and then it's like they have a team they might be able to beat a little easier. It's another 3 game set. It's just
Yeah.
there's certain things like that with volleyball. Like you got to be on your game, to get to the final or to get to the round of 16. The games to get into the medals. You got to be fresh for that. So.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Phil and Nick. Like, yeah, Phil might be able to do that, but Nick is going to have to play his best ball at every single point, And for me, it's just he's just got to side out. Defensively, they're DNA is made to play defense. You know, Phil is just such a good blocker, such a good transition setter, and Nick is such a hustling kind of, you know, a person if he gets into that mindset, that mind state. So, yeah, I just think they just focus on side out, and they could compete, sure, but they're definitely outside looking in, as opposed to maybe the women's are a bit more on the inside, you know, in a top position, especially Kleiman and Alex, thinking everybody's got to beat us.
Yeah, but Clays and Sponsel, I see a Dane and Fanoy thing coming. I think that,
For
you know, I
sure.
mean, like, even, like, people shouldn't take this as an insult, because even Dane Blanton admitted to me that their trip to Sydney was not to win the gold. Their trip to Sydney was to make the quarterfinals. If they make the quarterfinals, they're like, if we get this far, cool, then maybe we got momentum, and then we'll reassess and we'll go from there. So, right, but nobody was, I mean, but so you're talking to a guy who won a gold medal, who in his heart of hearts didn't think he was gonna win. Okay, so I mean, and this guy admitted it to me. So it's not like we're you know, I made this far reach, which I'm you know, and in the year 2000 we wouldn't even have to apologize for feelings, but and I'm not apologizing because someone's making me. It's just that when I'm saying it, sometimes I don't know if someone takes that personally or not. You know, if you're not waiting tables at night, if this is all you're doing 24/7, you know, and then someone's like, who's this guy that's never done this to say that, you know? Well, you know, but we need to have that conversation, because one, I'm 50. I have done that. I don't feel like doing this at 50. Okay. And two, you don't have to be a doctor to know if someone gets shot in the head that they're gonna die. You don't have to be a surgeon. You base it on years and years of experiences of watching people getting shot in the head. They get shot in the head, they're gonna die, right? You know.
I mean, it's just casual observation,
Yes,
you know, and I
and
think it
that's
goes
all it
down
is.
again to, you know, the fragility of people's, you know, I don't want to say ego, but you know, the way that
But this is why you don't like
view
talking about
themselves.
this. This is
I
why you
don't.
don't
I
like
really
talking
don't.
about this.
I really don't.
Yeah, and
Because yeah, in the
because
sports
yeah.
aspect, but honestly, it is sports psychology in a sense, you know, where, you know, what people talk about in a certain situation, like, oh yeah, I just meant to say it, but why did you say that? You know, it's just a lot of the small things.
Yeah. And dude, people act like I don't mean to get on the bandwagon fallacy, all right? I'm not the only one that felt or feels this way. Sorry, okay? Ask a friend. Take a freaking poll. And again, I'm not trying to get on the bandwagon fallacy, assuming that just because the premise is popular that it's right. I'm not saying that everyone that feels that way is right. I'm just saying that you should not be dismissive of. They should not be dismissive of people who years and years of experience as a coach and a player knows and consistent with the behavior or certain characteristics, knows it when they see it. Okay? Like, remember I told you before, a woman has a certain face that men don't have, but they know it when they see it, when they have grief and anger, right? Then they want to lash out. See the face? They want to lash out, but they can't. But at the same time, they don't want you to see them cry. Now, and for men, like, if we're too close to get away, then just hug them, because we're in the eye of the storm is the only thing you could do. But if we're far enough to get away, just be somewhere else, right? Am I a woman? No, I'm not a woman, but I've lived on this planet long enough to know that look when I see it. And now I'm gonna stop talking about this, because anything else feels like justification, and I don't. This is a talk show. I don't need to justify shit, dude. You know, I'm just making sure not too many feelings are hurt. You know, let's moving on. My personal favorite. We're gonna talk a little bit about Osaka, but this section is called "To Shame or Not to Shame."
Shame. 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 Shame.
Okay, Rob, let's fix this. Let's do that. And here we are, Rob. Okay, Rob, this is more of an acute, more difficult topic to talk about, but we bring your attention to tennis. This is kind of stale news to some, but because we haven't done the show in a while, here we go. Naomi Osaka says she won't talk to the media at the French Open, citing mental health. She said, quote, "We're often sat there and asked questions that we've been asked multiple times before, or asked questions that bring doubt into our minds, and I'm just not going to subject to myself to people that doubt me." Rob, the question is to shame or not to shame. Do I go first on this?
Sure.
All right, cool. So glad, because I'm wound up over this. All right, Rob, keep it McLean. I got to go shame. Shame on her. Okay? Everybody's like, oh, good for you. Stand up to yourself. Oh, baloney. Nonsense. Absolute bullshit. All right? There are people that work a job. All right. And they get paid to do this job. And there are certain things in this job that they don't really want to do, but they knew going in that comes with the job. And they do it if they want to get paid. All right. Osaka, she's a tennis player. She gets paid millions and millions of dollars by the fans who support and love her, by the way. And part of their job description is media obligations. If it's media obligations, and if that's part of your job, you do your job, okay? Mental health notwithstanding. There are people out there doing worse than her for less money that they know they have to do to get money. So you don't decide, you wake up one day that you don't like, you're not going to do your job because you don't like something about your job. You don't like your job, quit, dude. And I know I'm sounding cold about that, but media obligations and the media asking these questions are the ones that actually generate fan participation, and fan participation makes sure she gets paid. Shame. Rob.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a difficult issue because, as a player in multiple sports, just watching all these sports, watch players after games, they lash out all the time, and they get fined for that. So it's not just necessarily that they have to be in that media atmosphere, but they have to act only a specific way. They have to, hold up a certain character as opposed to actually being able to express who they are and what they are in that time. So I have to side with the player on this in the sense that there's a middle ground here. Not that we need to change everything, and because she said something, it needs to change. It has to change right now. But let's start having that conversation. Let's start, meeting with the players and seeing, is there a better time we can have, a post-game press conference that could give you maybe 15 minutes to decompress so that you have time to take that loss or take that, because sometimes it's literally right after you play, and sometimes it's 15, 20 minutes after the locker room, or after you get, you're able to take your words in and take your thoughts in and be able to express yourself correctly. So, and they don't give you a chance. Like if they say media, they force you to do that. It's not like, oh, okay, we'll give you that 15, 30 minutes. It's like they're on a time slot, just like, just like everybody else is. So they can't really hold things back for people. So I definitely have to side with the players on that.
I think there has to be a skewing, Rob. I think, look, for mixed martial arts, I'm just going to say it like this. You should never interview the loser, all right? When Stipe Miocic knocked out Alistair Overeem and they interviewed him as a loser, he's like, this guy tapped out. I felt him tap. And Joe Rogan showing a replay or whatever, he's like, well, I'm pretty sure he tapped. The dude just got knocked out cold.
Right.
And not just,
right.
How someone finishes, they cover up, they're not intelligently defending themselves. So those are TKOs. You don't. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just using MMA as an example, maybe as a strawman fallacy. You don't interview the guy who just got knocked out, right? Because they're not in citing as a pretext, they're not in their right mind. And sometimes when you lose a close tennis match, a match maybe you thought, and it hurts and you're trying to deal with, you strategize and the strategy didn't work and you're still trying to put all these things together. And then you guys got the media, this press room asking the exact same questions that the press asked before you got there, and then your next media obligation, the exact same questions, some even verbatim. It becomes annoying, and I understand that some of these questions are stupid. And like you said, to be a consistent character where you don't alienate people who look up to you, it's very difficult to say, dude, okay, you used your question up. That was stupid. Okay? Not everybody's that thick-skinned, like Nick Nolte was like, any questions, stupid or otherwise? We want your comment on the basketball kicking incident. He goes, The basketball kicking incident. Our next question. You used yours up. That was stupid. So I don't say I don't sympathize or even empathize with the players, but this is something coming in. All right. Same thing with movie stars. They make all millions of dollars and they want all this, but at the same time, they don't want they want a private life too. They want to be able to go out or whatever. That's what comes with the territory, and anyone that tells a millionaire or sides with a millionaire and talks about, oh, that's not fair, has to be the worst case of Stockholm syndrome I've ever seen, because you got people out there that are making significantly less, that are doing a whole bunch of things. And what do we tell those people? They tell them life isn't fair. So why the F are these celebrities and these millionaire athletes? Why are they exempt from us saying life isn't fair? So that's my argument. I love your argument, and you almost had me. You almost had me switch over, because everything you said, Rob, everything you said is on point. It's 100% true, man. There's nothing you said that was a lie, man. I got, Cool, man. I like that. I'm glad we addressed it. A little too late, but at least with us, it comes from a place where everybody can understand and pick a side. Quick question, Rob. That's our next category, and I guess I got to sing it. Quick question. Quick question. God, we love going live. Quick question. Should we continue to interview losers and winners? I already answered that. No. You get plenty of time, right? You can have an hour just talking to the winners.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. Leave the losers alone sometimes. That is a mental health thing. Quick question. Bucks versus the Nets tonight. Who wins?
Yeah, I got to go with the Bucks.
I go with Bucks. Quick question. Who wins the series between the Bucks and Nets?
I think it's the Nets, honestly.
You think they pull it out?
I think they do.
Yeah. I think Kevin Durant's going to have to put up a 40 and a 50 burger. I think it goes to Game 7, and I think to win one of those last two games, right?
But let me ask you, if somebody said, hey, you got KD by himself with an okay team, and he's going to put up 40 or 50, would you put chances on that, or would you put the chances on Milwaukee winning?
I'll put chances on Milwaukee winning, because I've seen him put up 51 against the Raptors, and the Raptors still find a way to win. So
yeah, but that's the Raptors. It's a different team.
You're right.
The Raptors are an actual team.
I just
Milwaukee,
hate that everyone's ready to give Durant a pass. Oh, this guy, he didn't have this guy. He didn't have that guy. Freaking Greek freak that went seasons not having any of those guys, and then but us in the very same breath. Oh, he's not good enough, right? We don't say Kevin's not good enough when he don't have backup. That's not fair.
Yeah, but that's like saying, oh, like if Karl Malone didn't have John Stockton, he wouldn't be the same player. He wouldn't, because he can't dribble the ball. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Durant can shoot, and that's all we could literally stop it right there.
Okay.
And then that would be the end of the story. But like, he can shoot, dribble, he can run his team's offense, he can rebound, and he can play defense. Greek Freak he can rebound and play defense. And I don't care how good he can do it. Rebound, play defense, that's how he gets bucket. He doesn't score. He doesn't score.
It's true.
So no matter what you want to say, like, they're just not on the same level. Giannis will never be a superstar. He will always be like the biggest star you'll ever see. I'm sorry.
And he won't have the same excuses everybody else has.
You can't say, oh, Giannis, what did he do? Oh, he didn't score. Well, he doesn't score.
No.
He doesn't ever score anyway.
Okay.
So,
I get that.
He never has any bad things about him, because there's not really that potential of like he should be doing this,
Yep. Got it. Quick question.
Sorry.
No, there's so much for a quick question, right? No, super necessary. Right. Maybe we should have saved that for the end. Quick question. Who's the better matchup for the Suns, Clippers or Jazz?
I think it's the Jazz, because I think they're a little banged up right now. And the Clippers, I think they're just kind of revving up. I think if they get out of this series, they're going to be really dangerous.
I go with Jazz for the exact same reasons. If the Clippers win, there's too much momentum. Who wins between the Clippers and Jazz? Quick question.
I think it's going to be man. I think it's going to be the Clippers, honestly.
I think it's going to be the Jazz. Quick question. Is Aaron Rodgers going to make it to the regular season with the Packers? No wonder we got cut off.
Right. They wanted to make sure that we knew what we were talking about.
Mhm.
I think he's going to make it with the team, but I don't think he's going to make. He's going to be on the field.
He's definitely going to make it with the team, but I think he's going to make the entire team and organization miserable until he's gone. And that sucks because there are a lot of players that stand to lose because of his money situation. It trickles down. Quick question: Kawhi Leonard's dunk, is it in the best? Was that the best one in the playoffs so far?
Ooh, for sure. Not even a question.
Cool. Quick question: Are we really interested in Paul versus Tyron Woodley?
No, absolutely not.
Me neither. Quick question: Is Vogel's job in trouble with the Lakers?
Yeah, just because I think there's just going to be a whole sweeping changes of things happening. So,
I say yes because I say yes because when LeBron loses, it's always someone else's fault. And I mean, Paul's pretty much. I mean, he's pretty. There's a reason why Jason Kidd's the assistant coach. They had it set up like that. Quick question: Is Monty Williams the true coach of the year?
Absolutely.
I liked Thibodeau a few weeks ago, but I'm loving Monty Williams now, dude. Oof.
Yeah, but he looks like a guy who don't really care. He's looking for that championship.
Definitely. With a team that doesn't care either. Chris Paul is going to finally earn them State Farm commercials. Quick question: Is Luka the true MVP? I say yes.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Quick question.
They got it. But I'm going to say they actually got it right. The one guy who really wasn't hurt that much this year and who played at the highest level.
Okay. Nice. Quick question: Is Roger Federer pulling out of the French Open bad for tennis?
I don't know if it's bad for tennis. I think he's just been great for tennis for so long that we forget that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they aren't machines.
No, I would say no because it's not a team sport where, like, if you have all these surgeries, like basketball, you could play micromanage 5 minutes, or baseball X amount of innings, right?
Right.
He has a choice to make, and this you don't know what the hell grueling is until you've seen a 3 out of 5 men's match under whatever conditions. So.
3 hours, and 92 degree. It's just 70% humidity. Like, it's ridiculous.
Dude,
the conditions.
Bugger off, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Quick question: Is Serena Williams hurting her legacy by continuing to play? Loaded question. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so, and it's hard. It's a loaded question because you said quick question first.
I saved it for the end. That's the last one.
Oh, okay, good. I don't think she's hurting her legacy. I think she's just trying to, like any other athlete would, trying to extend her legacy. And sometimes it doesn't look the same as it does when you were younger. But at the end of the day, she's still trying to fight to get, 22? 22 major wins or 21 major wins. I know everybody's saying, oh, she's been there for so long, but she's also been right there for so long to be one of the greatest female tennis athletes of all time, possibly one of the greatest, at least American female athletes of all time. And people are saying, is she hurting her legacy? How? Who?
Yeah.
Like, what? Come on, man.
No, I think. Well, as elite athletes, I think she's earned the right to play as long as she wants, and she's earned the right to suck. And look, in sports, I don't believe Father Time's undefeated. I do believe Father Time wins in the end. I've seen Father Time get his ass kicked too many times as to not to call him undefeated. He's not undefeated. But he is the champ. And at some point, I mean, it's all nice to retire when you're on top, just to cement this thing, but like. Rocky Marciano retired undefeated. Muhammad Ali didn't, but Muhammad Ali's still the greatest, right? Because he decided to go as long as he wants. So you're right. I don't think it hurts it. Will CP3 be considered a top 5 point guard with a chip if he wins a ring?
I mean, I don't think that would make him a top 5 point. I think he already is because the point guard position has been lost nowadays.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about assist artists, those people who can do it and who actually do it. Mm-hmm. It's not just the ones who can pass, but the ones who pass and do the pass. I think he's top 3 point guard in the league because of, and I said this to a buddy of mine yesterday. Sorry, again, not the question, but, what losing team has Chris Paul been on? the worst team he was on was the team that they tried to create around him, which was the New Orleans Hornets back in the day, before they came to Charlotte Hornets. So, man, he's been the best point guard probably in the league for a very long time, and nobody's really been able to know. So more power to him, more up to him.
I agree with you. Chip or no chip, he still considered that. He was there. He was already there. Cool, guys. Well, that's the end of the quick question. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I want to give a quick shout out to New Orleans, Coconut Beach. They had a big co-promotion in the AVP, and they gave me the honor, duty, and privilege of doing color commentary and some play-by-play on both center court and court one. It was a chance for me to allow my strengths to play to the needs of the sport, and this is where I think I belong, and this is where I think as far as deserve if deserve has anything to do with it, I think, and paying dues and putting the time in to lead to moments like this. It was a true just exhilarating, exciting experience for me, and I think I'm eternally grateful for the opportunity. Big up to Blue Nose Athletics, Evan Corey, who won the Coconut Beach Open, beat Rafa Rodriguez and then Peter Marciniak. Peter had some, cramping or whatever and this and that, but the point is Corey did not. And when it was time for him to deliver, when it was his opportunity to reach up and grab that brass ring, nobody should take that victory. So congratulations to that guy. Big up to the guy who's young but betting on himself. He has his own hats, clothing line, and apparel, Blue Nose Athletics. You can't be mad at a kid, trying to entrepreneur himself, because this is the first thing old people tell kids what they should do, right? They're like, you need to, go out there and take chances. And guess what? He's doing it. So big up to him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I also told him when he comes, he should train with you, because you offer very acute training to athletes who are looking to fine tune their game. So
I haven't talked to him in a minute, but yeah, good dude, and I'll see him when he comes around.
Yeah, I told him to come see you. As far as, because look, this whole Coconut Beach thing was not about star power. It was best man for the job. That's why they wanted me. For that same reason, why I think he should train with you a couple of days. It's best man for the job. It's the best man for the job. We have differing philosophies on this and that on adults and this and that. But at the end of the day, nobody gets worse under us. But I like your style, and I just wanted to say that about you before we let this podcast. Rob McLean, is there anything you want to say to the world population and the American people before we leave?
Thank goodness the AVP dropped an AVP schedule. Woo.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
that's
Atlantic City is a great launching point too, because Atlantic City is next, but they're gonna treat that. I mean, the merchandising and the setup is if it's anything like Coconut Beach, it's gonna be first class. So, yep.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Rob, we gotta go. You gotta go, Coach. I gotta do whatever it is I do when I'm not podcasting. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your desktop, for all of you, all the rest of that, for Rob, keep it McLean. This is episode 67 of Sports Debate Tuesday. I'm Jason DeBeas. Love you to pieces. Take care, people. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify, and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.